morning, everyone. My name is Rick Jones, and I'm speaking today on Thursday, June the 24th, which is the day that our priest, Enrique Martinez, is going to be ordained from, he is a deacon now, he's going to be ordained a priest in the Church of God. And first of all, I want to say on behalf of all of our community, congratulations to him for getting to this point in his life. I can speak from personal experience. It's not easy to become ordained, particularly when later on in life, when you've got a family and children to think about and to support and to go back to school and to make the kind of concerted sacrifices that need to be made over a number of years, not only by you but by your family, to get to the point where you can actually be ordained and find vocational work in the church is an incredible journey and achievement. So congratulations, Enrique. By the time you see this, you will have made it. And your real work will just be beginning. That's the point of my sermon, because usually at ordination, somebody, some older person like me gets to preach the ordination sermon and talk a little bit about what it's like to be an ordained person. And I thought what I would do for fun is to give you that kind of a sermon, because I think it's worth hearing not only by you but maybe others as well. And I have no idea what the real preacher is going to say tonight. So I'm getting the jump on the real thing at the cathedral. But I just wanted to use as the text for my sermon John's Gospel, and it's a resurrection appearance in John, and it's in my mind a kind of a model for ministry that is actually done by Jesus. So this is Jesus appearing to his disciples after the crucifixion and the resurrection. So the passage starts out, it says, on that day, the first day of the week, the doors of the house where the disciples were gathered, being locked for fear, Jesus came and appeared and stood among them and said, "Peace be with you." And then he showed them his hands and his side. And the disciples rejoiced to see the Lord. Then he said to them again, "Peace be with you. As the Father has sent me, so I send you." And he breathed the Holy Spirit upon them. And he said, "If you forgive the sins of any, they are forgiven. And if you retain the sins of any, they are retained." So let's go back to the beginning. The disciples are in fear. They're locked down. They don't know what's going to happen next. Their leader has been taken away from them. As far as they know, he's dead. He's gone. Their lives are being threatened. They are perhaps at the lowest point that they could possibly be, emotionally and physically. And what does Jesus do? He doesn't send a message and say, "Oh, come to my temple and I will talk to you there." No. Or meet me on the hillside and we'll have a conversation about how you're feeling. No, that's not what he does. He goes through the locked doors and he meets them right where they are, in the midst of their pain, in the midst of their sorrow, in the midst of their uncertainty. And what is Jesus' message? Peace be with you. And then he doesn't give them advice. He doesn't say, "Oh, cheer up, it'll be better tomorrow. Oh, I know how you feel." No, he doesn't do it. He doesn't do that at all. he shows them his hands and his side. In other words, he just opens himself up to show them his own wounds, his own vulnerability. What I take from this as a person of ministry is that we need to meet people absolutely where they are. Whatever they're feeling, whatever their circumstances, whatever their life experience, our place as priests is absolutely not to judge. We are called to break through barriers, break through walls that are locked, come through doors that are locked, in order to not preach to people, but to be with them as fellow human beings, children of God, and to bring the message of God and the message of Jesus to each and every human being. Peace be with you. You are loved. One of the wisest priests in the Diocese of Niagara that I had the pleasure of working with was called Marion Vincent, and she's retired now, but she became the executive officer for a while, and she would give this advice to young clergy starting out. She would say to them, okay, the one thing that I will tell you right now that you need to do in every parish that you go to is truly and honestly respect and love the people that you are sent to serve. Which is, to me, another way of saying that our job is to meet people where they are, not where we think they should be, not where we would like them to be, perhaps, not in some ideal kind of parish world, church world of ministry. No. Our job is to meet communities and individuals exactly where they are, and to remind them that they are loved. And if we're in a situation where we're with people in pain, in sorrow, in difficulty, being a priest doesn't give us some magic answers. It doesn't give us the playbook on life. What we bring to this role is our own wounds, our own pain, our own vulnerabilities, the ways that we have been hurt, the way that we feel sorrow. But what we hopefully can bring is also the knowledge and the example that through it all we can experience God's love and peace, that we have ourselves experienced it, and not to preach to others about it, but simply to be with others, to hold somebody's hand, to cry with somebody, to honestly listen to what somebody is saying without comment, without commentary, without answers. Sometimes people call it the ministry of presence. And I would say that that is probably the greatest thing that we are called to be with other people, is to simply be with. The difference between being a deacon, incidentally, and being a priest is that being a deacon means that your job is basically to be out in the world, trying to effect change, and to, in the words of the ordination vows, to bring the world to the church and the church to the world in that sort of a dynamic relationship. But the role of the priest is not that. The role of the priest is to be there for the people that you are called to serve and nurture. So it's the role of each and every one of us as baptized Christians to be out in the world, functioning like deacons, to bring hope to a world that needs hope, to bring joy to a world that needs joy, to bring hopefulness. But it's not our job as priests to be focused on that primarily. Our job is to be nurturing and enabling the gathered community. And that kind of gets us to the second part of the story, because then Jesus says to them, "As the Father has sent me, so I send you." Jesus didn't go and work with thousands of people at the same time. Yes, he preached to the multitudes. Yes, he fed the multitudes. But his focus was on equipping, training, inspiring, teaching a very small group of people, his disciples. And at this point, he says to them, "Okay, the Father sent me to you. Now I send you to do the same, to go out, each and every one of you, and equip and train and nurture another small group. And then they will then in turn go out and nurture and equip." And so it spreads, so the hope spreads, so the ripple in the pond goes out from Jesus, not all at once to everybody, but one ripple at a time, taking in ever bigger circles as more and more people are equipped and trained and go out. So that's an important distinction, because sometimes we as priests think that we've got to do it all. Not only do we have to look after all the people, but we've also got to change the world at the same time. And if you read your vows carefully, you will see that that's not actually what you're called to be. Yes, you are still a deacon even though you're a priest, but if you're functioning as a priest in a parish, you're called to be equipping the saints for ministry. Equipping the saints for ministry. And that is you sending them out, just as Jesus breathed on the disciples the Holy Spirit. And that's the other key piece to this. None of us is on our own in this work. The Holy Spirit is real. The Spirit of God is real. It's real in your life. It's real in my life. You may or may not recognize it, but it's there, particularly if you're in the world as we are of the church, where we talk about these things more openly. We can't do anything without God's presence, without God's inspiration, without God's strength, somehow being with us, inspiring us. There, the word, spirit, inspiration, that energy that comes to you when you least expect it, when you're the most down, you are able to do what you're called to do, because the Holy Spirit is working through you and with you. So you never have to worry about whether you're going to be able to do the job or not, because it's not your job to do. It's the Holy Spirit's job, and you are a vehicle of the Holy Spirit. Your job is to keep yourself open and praying and attuned to the working of the Holy Spirit in your community and in your life. And then we get to the last part, which is kind of problematic for some people. But it gets to the other thing that we do. We are sacramental ministers. You know, we have the incredible privilege and responsibility of being able to celebrate the Eucharist, to perform weddings and to bless people, to anoint the sick, to anoint the dying. And in all of these things the sacramental things that we do, we are really trying to mediate, not mediate in the sense of being in between, but we're trying to incarnate, be present to people as if Jesus could be present, as if God could be present, and to facilitate the sacraments so that they become outward and visible signs of inward and spiritual grace. We simply facilitate the outward sign the inward and the spiritual grace comes from God. So the gospel says, if you forgive the sins of any, they are forgiven. So we pronounce absolution. That is another sacramental act that we do. If you retain the sins of any, they are retained. The only thing I want to say about that is that we need to treat that very, very carefully. I have met priests who have withheld the sacraments, particularly the sacrament of baptism, from people or children for whatever reason they thought that they should. Or they have, and that was really the worst one in my mind. This one priest refused to baptize a child who was actually dying because the parents didn't go to church. I'm sorry. To me, that is not the retaining. We're not to punish people. It's not our job to punish people. It's not our job to judge others. Our job is to be instruments of God's love. And if you look carefully at Jesus' life and ministry, Jesus didn't judge other people. He ate and drank with outcasts and sinners. He was constantly being criticized for reaching out to the people who others would say in normal society are the people you shouldn't be associating with. And so, as priests, we have responsibility and we have power. And I guess what I'm saying is that we need to be careful that we never misuse the power that we have as sacramental ministries. I would rather err on the side of grace and love than feel like I've been righteous or self-righteous because I've upheld something that I, at the time, believed was important. The other thing about getting older is that you realize that there are fewer and fewer things that are absolutely important. The really important things are love and relationship. And so as Enrique, as you become our priest officially today, as a fully ordained priest, I welcome you, and I hope that your ministry is long and fruitful, and that you are blessed, as many of us who have been in the church for years have been blessed over the years by the privilege, and it is a privilege, the privilege of being with people at the most important moments of their life, whether it be birth, marriage, celebrations of all kinds, and death. We have the opportunity and the blessing of truly being with people in a special and unique way. And it's a two-way street. We receive as much as we give. We receive more than we give. And that's the other wonderful thing about being a priest. At the end of your life, you will be full. Hopefully, you will be full of the love that you have received over the years of ministry. God bless you, and God bless your fellow ordinand.